Hey guys, so today is April 21st, 2020, and I debated about making this video because I feel like lots of people like to judge people, and especially when they don't know situations and they've never been in that situation, but I also feel like it's something that no one talks about and therefore needs to be talked about, so I figured talk about it. I'm probably going to lose my voice too. So, I think I kind of touched on it a bit during the videos where I talked about meeting her and even the video of seeing her picture and stuff like that, about not having that like instant connection. And I've read a lot of adoption stories, I've watched a lot of adoption videos, and there always seemed to be like this instant bond with your child that the moment you saw their picture, you knew they were yours. And with Emrys, I never felt that. When I saw her picture, it was just like, well, my first thought was, oh my gosh, she looks like a boy. But then after that, there was no like connection, and there was no like, she's mine. And then I'm like, okay, well, it'll just take some time. Once I meet her, then I'll really feel it. And when I met her, I wasn't as emotional as I thought I was going to be. I was emotional more that it was like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for so bloody long for this and it's finally happening. But it wasn't a her thing. It was like more of a relief feeling. And then spending time with her, it was like spending time with any other child. There was no like, she's my daughter moment. And coming home, I felt like maybe there was something wrong with me. Maybe I've just spent too much time with kids in my life. I've just loved too many kids, because the love that I felt for her is the same love that I felt for kids that I babysat, kids that my students. Like, that love is the same, and I was expecting this like love of she is mine kind of thing. And I just wasn't feeling that, and I felt like a bad mom for not having that instant connection with her. And so since being home, it's been hard, because a lot of people are like, well, what's it like knowing your daughter's on the other side of the world and you've met her and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I miss her, but I also miss my students. I cry because I miss her. I also cry because I miss my students. I don't feel like she's my daughter. And when I met her, and the whole time I was there, and even now, I call her Natalia. And when I was there, after I signed paperwork, they started calling her Emrys. And it was very weird, because Emrys has always been my child, and she doesn't feel like my child. And there's been times where I'm like, okay, something's gonna fail, or something's gonna happen to her, because she doesn't feel like my child, so she can't possibly be my child, because I meant to feel this deep attachment to her, and I don't feel that attachment to her. So something's clearly wrong, because I don't have that feeling. And it's been hard, because obviously I don't want anything to happen to her. Obviously I don't want to have anything happen with the adoption. But there's also the fear of, like, if something did happen to her or with the adoption, and right now with the whole COVID thing going on right now, COVID is my biggest concern. And it's like, okay, well, what would happen if something happened to her? Well, I would grieve that loss, but not necessarily the loss of her, but the loss of the adoption. And then I would move on. And it's really hard to think like that, because I've wanted this for so long, and I'm finally getting it, and I'm not getting the feeling that I thought I would have after all this time. And I've heard stories of parents not connecting, and I knew it was a possibility, but it always seemed like that's those parents that have had a biological child and now adopted. So it's a different feeling. Or they jumped into an adoption and weren't actually prepared. And it's those parents that aren't feeling the attachment to their child, and those parents that don't feel that bond, and those parents that don't feel that connection. because you only hear it in those situations where it's like an extreme, where there is a very clear lack of connection between parent and child. Not child to parent, but parent to child. Or stuff like readoptions and stuff like that. Like those situations. So like the extreme cases where you're like, those parents had an issue. But that's not going to be me, because I've read all the stories. I've been preparing for 7+ years. So, of course, I'm going to instantly feel connected to this girl. And she could have been my friend's kid for as much as I connected with her. Like, I love her. I love her. And I feel that towards her. But like I said, I love her the same as I love my students. I honestly feel like more of a connection towards Taylor. And Taylor and I struggled a lot with bonding. Not so much her to me, but me to her. After Shova died, I felt like I was replacing him with her. So I felt like I couldn't love her because I couldn't love her like I loved him. Because that would mean my love for him was less. And she couldn't be as good as him because he was amazing. And if she was better than him in any sort of way, then that was harming him in some way. Anyway. So it took me a long time to actually bond with her. And our attachment now is like amazing. And I will say she's a way better dog than Shova ever was. And our bond is much stronger than my bond with Shova was. Mind you, she's also been around longer. But it's her personality too. Anyway. And I hate to compare this with a dog, but I just felt like I was failing her by not instantly being connected to her. And so I talked to a fellow adoptive parent whose child has struggled to bond with her, and she has talked a bit about the bond with him, but I just came out and said about not feeling connected to her, and the fact that I feel like this horrible mother for not instantly having that connection and that bond and that attachment, and the fact that she doesn't feel like mine at all. Like, she's on the other side of the world, and it's like, okay, there's some kid on the other side of the world. And she was so helpful because she made me realize how many parents actually don't have that connection, where it's not rare for people not to have the connection, it's actually more rare for people to actually have that connection. And people that say that it's all sunshine and rainbows, the parent towards the child, usually it's not. And unfortunately, looking for resources on how to, I don't want to say fix it, but feel more connected to her, there's like nothing. It is all child attaching to parent. There's thousands and thousands of books and articles and blog posts and this, that, the other thing, and about attachment disorders for children to parents, how to help with bonding, how to help like your child bond with you, bonding stages that your child will go through, and yada yada. But there doesn't seem to be anything for parents who don't feel connected to their child. And it's really easy to feel like you're alone when you don't see that, when you don't see other parents struggling, when you just see these happy families on Instagram that they brought home this child and now they're magically a family, and the child might struggle to bond to them, but this child is theirs. And they feel like it's theirs, and I don't know, it's just hard when people, I don't want to say lie, but they're just not open about the realities of how they're feeling. Maybe they're in denial. I mean, I was. When I met her, well, when I saw her picture and didn't feel a connection, it was a, I just need to meet her thing. And then when I met her and didn't feel the connection, it was like a, oh, well, maybe it's just not meant to be, or maybe I just need more time, maybe something's wrong with me. But there was no like, this is normal, this is expected, it will take time, but it will come. Like, I didn't feel that at all. And even with her, like, the Wednesday was really hard. And it's hard when your child doesn't know who you are either. So, like, how am I supposed to feel like her mom when she doesn't feel like I'm her mom? And I knew she wasn't going to, because I'm this total stranger. And I feel like we had, like, brief moments of eye contact and brief moments of some sort of little her connecting to me. But again, like, I have worked as a postpartum doula, as a nanny, as a babysitter, as a teacher, and I have felt stronger connections with other people's children than I have with my own child. Anyway, so talking to this wonderful, wonderful mother just helped a lot to make me feel a little less guilty and a little less like a failure. Not even home yet and I'm failing already. But I had actually stopped reading all adoption books, because with the adoption being in the air right now because of COVID and stuff, I was struggling to feel like things were actually going to happen, because I don't have this connection to her and the world is all in chaos and don't know when things are going to happen, and it just was hard to feel like she was coming home when she doesn't even feel like mine. And so I had stopped reading adoption books, but after talking to this mother, I decided to start reading them again. And one of them is called Parenting Your Internationally Adopted Child. And it's funny because the chapter I read right after talking to her talked about the stages that a child goes through in attachment, and when they start actually showing some attachment signs, and the order that they kind of show them in, and the timelines for those. And it was very helpful, because the first 3 take a minimum of 3 months. There's one that could take as little as 2 months, but minimum of 3 months to show up. And I have spent 15 hours with her. That's a maximum 15 hours. That's going by that we spent 3 hours a day together, which I don't think we did every day. I don't actually know our actual times. But so going by that, we spent maybe 15 hours a day, or 15 hours total together. And it's going to take a minimum of 3 months for her to go from survival skills to family skills. And from talking to the mother again, she said it's about 6 months before there was any really, like, real for her children. And so, like, to know, okay, like, it's going to take that long for her to attach at all, then, of course, it's not going to be instant for me, because we're strangers to each other and it's going to take time for me as well. So it's hard to admit that after 7+ years of trying to become a mother, I don't feel like my daughter is my child. And I really thought she would, and I was really expecting it, because that's what the adoption world kind of gives, that the moment you meet your child, you know they're yours, and you feel this instant bond with them, and you see their picture and you know that's your child, and everything like that. And I mean, part of it could do with previous losses. Like with Penny, I honestly felt more connected to her than I do with Emrys. And she honestly feels more like Emrys still than Emrys does. It's just something that I feel like I needed to make a video on and talk about a bit. To maybe help someone else that's feeling the same way. To know that that it's okay to not feel that instant connection. And hopefully, hopefully, once she's home for a while, that will change. I mean, it also doesn't help that that 15 hours with her was in one very small room with a bunch of strangers. With no alone time, with no time to just sit and be together. There was always noise going on, there was always stuff going on, and people in and out and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe even just the moment we finally get to walk out of there forever, maybe even then. Or that might be the, oh shit, they've given me a kid and I don't know what to do with her. Might be that kind of thing too. But I don't know, I think I've just been planning so much, and I've had this like imaginary vision in my head of this magical child, and Eris is amazing and more than I could ever hope for, but now she's real, and her delays are real, and her trauma's real, and knowing that it's a long road is real. I also have to keep reminding myself that I don't need to fix things overnight. That she doesn't need to learn to talk overnight. That she doesn't need to learn to swim overnight. That she doesn't need to walk overnight. That I don't need to have this connection overnight. That she doesn't need the connection overnight. That we have our lives to spend doing that. And it's not going to be easy. At all. At all. But it'll hopefully be worth it in the end. But just knowing that, like, to maybe put a little less pressure on myself to be this, like, perfect mom. And that it's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay to have feelings that aren't perfect mom feelings. And be scared. That's okay. Anyway, like I said, I just feel like people don't talk about it. It's so hard to find resources. If you are an adoptive parent and you can totally relate to this, please feel free to message me on Instagram and let me know, like, I don't know, did you get through it, or did it take a long time, or if you know of resources that might help. There's only one book that I've seen, and it's called Post-Adoption Blues. But it kind of goes through, it does have a little chapter on parent connection to child, but it does also talk quite a bit, from what I've seen from the chapter headings, about child behaviors and stuff like that. And I need something just for me that will just, I don't know, tell me what to do. And I think that's my struggle too, is like the logic part of my brain just wants to know what to do to fix it. And she's not even home yet, so it's not something that I think can be fixed until she's home and until we have lots of time together, which is then hard because we also have doctor's appointments and therapy appointments. And then next thing you know, she's going to be, I'm going to be off maternity leave, and I'm going to have to leave her at daycare just when we start to bond. I don't know, I'm really hoping my mom will move out here by then, because I would feel much more comfortable with my mom, with her establishing a second bond with my mom than her establishing a bond with some random caregiver. Anyway, so this video is 20 minutes long, and I'm going to end it now. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rambles. I don't know when I'm going to update next because, I guess I could give you an update because I got a somewhat of an update. All I know is that she's not been sick at all, and that they are currently waiting for a court date, and will let me know when that happens. Right now, courts are set to open up May 13th. Originally, they were set to open up April 13th, but that got delayed as they bumped their state of emergency. Bulgaria seems to be doing pretty well with their stuff. We seem to be slightly maybe getting to a peak, not locally, locally's shit show. But I think Canada, is finally reaching a peak, and they predicted that we would reach a peak in Alberta like mid to end May. So Bulgaria seems to be doing good. And so hopefully they will reopen May 13th. Right now they are doing some cases, but only urgent cases. But that still makes me happy because even if they're just doing urgent cases, that's still cases that are being done. So by the time they reopen, there will be fewer cases, hopefully, to be being done, because they're not doing matches or anything right now, as far as I know, and obviously trip ones are not happening right now. So I don't know. Fingers crossed. I'm still hoping she comes home this summer. I would just like to have some time without work instead of being like, oh, I'm going to start work and then have to go get her or anything like that. Also, the sooner she comes home in the summertime, the longer I have off with her. So I get 8 months off, but that doesn't start until I miss work. So my first day back to work is like the 24th or something of August. So even if it's just a week before that, that's an extra week that I get off with her. But if she comes home, say, the beginning of August, then I have all of August off. So now I have 9 months off with her. Anyway, I just would like as much time off with her as possible. But unfortunately, financially, I can't take off more than the 8 months. It's just not something that's going to be feasible. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm fortunate enough in Canada to get that the 8 months off as it is, because I don't know how adoptive parents go and adopt a child and then try to attach with them, but then have to go back to work right away. Anyway, I'm going for real now. Probably go eat something. I'm tired. Lots of emotions right now between the adoption and with work and the COVID stuff and just life right now. Super overwhelming. Anyway, thanks for listening. From the future, in the future. And I will see you guys at my next update. Bye, guys.